tell you a pretty quick but nonetheless pretty interesting paranormal experience I had at my husband then boyfriend's house. It was the first house that he had ever rented, and he rented it with two other friends. One is his very best friend. They've been best friends, I think, since like the 4th grade, and he was the best man at our wedding. Super awesome guy, and he's actually dating my best friend, so it works out. It's a pretty good setup. But anyway, this house was built probably in the 50s or 60s, just judging on the way that the kitchen looked. It really wasn't updated. But the house itself had a pretty unique layout. You'd walk in and of course there'd be the living room space, and then off to the right was a front bedroom, a very small bathroom, and then my husband's room, and then there was a door that conjoined the back bedroom, which was our best friend's room. His name's Chris. Chris's room. And if you have not watched my other videos, my husband's very skeptical, but it's something that I do appreciate about him. He brings me down to earth sometimes, and I do appreciate his logical approach to everything. He's inspired me to, you know, think about Occam's razor when it comes to most things. But anyway, let's get into the story. So my very skeptical husband had mentioned that at night he was being woken up by the sound of his desk drawer closing, which oddly enough is the desk that I have my phone on right now. But he said that he would wake up hearing the desk drawer slam. So I didn't really think much of it. At this time I would spend the weekends with him. I lived about 25 minutes away from where he was living, so it made sense for me to come and stay with him on the weekends and stay through Sunday. And you know, I kind of didn't think much of it. I was like, maybe, you know, he's having some like weird sleep paralysis thing, or, you know, he's dreaming it and it's waking him up, which I will say is kind of a weird thing to just randomly have, but, you know, the human mind's very powerful. So one night I did end up hearing it, and I can recreate the sound for you exactly because I have the desk right here. But I should tell you how it was set up really quickly. The desk was just adjacent to the bed, so I would always sleep on the outside of the bed when I'd stay the night, and it would sound something like this. It wasn't like the drawer was like completely pulled out. It was just that, and that's enough sound to definitely wake you up. And I heard it one night. When I heard it, I realized what it was, and it was definitely the drawer. It couldn't have been anything else. It was the top drawer and everything. I wish that I would have witnessed that. Maybe not. But Chris, our friend who lived in the room adjacent to my husband, said that he was experiencing weird things too, and he's kind of skeptical. He's not from, you know, the conversations we've had, he's not super into the paranormal or anything like that, and that's okay. But he said at night he'd be woken up, like he would wake up to the sound of like scratching under his bed, like on the floorboards, which is really weird. But that's not to say, you know, it wasn't a raccoon or something living under the foundation of this slightly old house. But still pretty weird. He said it would keep him up at night, and he didn't know what it was. So this all kind of came to a head when I was there at the house alone. And this house was located like, seriously, like less than a block from the park. And they had some friends over, and my husband's best friend and he and a couple other friends went down to the park. It was like a hot summer day. I was not about it. If you guys don't know Louisville, the Louisville area has such sticky, humid summers. It's gross. It's not pleasant to be outside. It's not. So I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna hang out here and, you know, mess around on the internet, whatever. So I'm chilling at the house by myself, no big deal, and I hear the door open and close and somebody walk in. So I'm like, hey, is that, you know, the other roommate? Because the other roommate was at work. I figured it was them, or maybe somebody coming back for water, or they forgot something, whatever. And nobody responded to me, so I get up and I look to see who, you know, maybe came home. There was nobody. There was nobody in this house. I walked all the way back to the back bedroom. The door was open. No one was in there. And then opposite my husband's room was the roommate's room. Nobody was in there. The door was open. Didn't hear anything else. So that was pretty weird. That was kind of the height of the paranormal activity that I had experienced in that house. I don't know what it was. The landlords were private landlords, and I believe they told my husband and his roommates that the only people that had lived there was an elderly couple. They had lived in that house the whole time, so maybe their energy wasn't really gone from that place. And based on the way that that house was built, I'd almost have to assume that the gentleman and the lady built the house themselves. So there could definitely have been a spiritual connection to that house. But have you ever experienced anything like that? Have you ever been convinced that somebody had walked into your house or walked into the room and no one was there? Have you ever experienced drawers closing by themselves? I have. Pretty weird, right? But if you have any questions or comments, please do leave them below. And as always, have a good day. Bye.